However, I also want to inform you. And so, if you need to leave at any point, please get up and leave. You're not going to offend me at all. However, if you have something important like a midterm, or you need to study for, I completely understand. I have one tomorrow. I'm staying up all night tonight studying for it. So if you need to go, you're not going to offend me. So, why am I here? I'm talking about success and the meaning to life. Good questions. So, who am I? My name is Forrest Hall. I'm a sophomore here at the University of Minnesota. And I am designing my own degree focused on humanistic sustainability. So what is that? That is a combination of psychology, economics, philosophy, everything from behavioral law to anything else that focuses essentially on socialistic values. Also, not only if you have to leave at any point, is that fine, but if you feel the need to remind me of something, please do so as well. Last year I came to one of these, and my grandma online told me, "Forrest, I can't hear you. Great presentation, but speak up." Okay, thank you, Grandma. Appreciate it. So, at any point, remind me, or if you need to leave, till the time. So, defining success and meaning is something that I'm going to be talking about along with methods for achieving success and challenges and obstacles to overcome. Goals. Goals are pretty cool. Goals are very cool things. What's interesting about goals? Goals are something that you strive for. It's something that says, hey, this is something I want out of life. This is something that is meaningful to me. And I'm going to strive for that. That is cool. That is cool. So we're going to be talking about goals. Percent of Americans who usually make New Year's resolutions. Who thinks it's more than 75%? Raise your hand. Wow, okay. 45%. Self-improvement or education-related goals. Who thinks that it's more than 75%? Out of those who make goals. 47%. Yikes. Ooh, scary. Percent of people who are not successful in achieving their goal. Who thinks that's 50%? 92! 92! Are you kidding? Oh my gosh, that's frightening. Okay. Success is like an iceberg. So essentially people think that it's this easy thing, oh, it's an overnight success, it's this thing that I just can attain without any hardship. No. Not at all. There are a lot of things that you need to go through, as this explains. So there's this idea that what happens to you in life is a small portion of what is actually happening. It's a small portion of your objective reality. What's really important is how you perceive what is happening. It's how you overcome or understand or really take into consideration what is happening. That is what is important. So I challenge all of you to write your own fortune, make your own destiny, live your own life. So how do we do this? Holy crap, Forrest. Sounds like a lot. Well, there's ways. Getting out of your comfort zone. My friends Andrew and Nilesh already talked about this tonight. Pretty important. Crucial. Step out of that comfort zone. I'm doing something that I am uncomfortable with. Perfect! Hell yeah! That's awesome. Why? Why? Because I'm growing. I'm learning. So along with getting out of your comfort zone, there's these pretty cool things called the scientific method. Bloom's taxonomy of thinking, and what I created. And this other thing called the law of attraction, which I'll get into in a bit. So, pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. It's a difficult thing to grasp, but once you fully understand it, it makes sense. And so, how to do that? Well, you gotta get over yourself. Get over what anyone else thinks of you. Get over any insecurities you have or excuses you have, and just do it. Because what's stopping you? Honestly. So, scientific method, if you've never heard of it. Here it is. Pretty cool. Essentially all it says is science goes through this process of observation and then understanding and doing research on this observation and then making questions and questioning the understanding to the point where you can then create experiments, and you're experimenting actively, and then you analyze what you've experimented upon and make conclusions. Bloom's taxonomy, if you've never heard, is also incredible. But this is a way humans think. Well, okay, interesting. So, essentially, how it works is on a very instinctual level, we remember. We remember and we understand. But as humans, we're more capable than that. We can do more than that. We're more talented than that. So, we can analyze, we can apply, we can evaluate and create. It's pretty incredible. So I created this thing called life. Listen, implement, formulate, and endure. Smart people learn from their own mistakes. Wise people learn from the mistakes of others. Why is that so important? Because that is not only pushing yourself outside of your own comfort zone and learning that there's no such thing as failure, that success comes from failure again and again and again. And so in order to achieve that success, I truly need to learn from my own mistakes and from the mistakes of others. So, this is a pretty cool quote. I'm not going to say anything other than that. I thought this was a pretty cool infographic as well. All this is really saying is that you can't only learn and then use this scientific method, this Bloom's taxonomy of thinking. You can't only do that, but you have to do it continuously. And it sounds like, oh my gosh, Forrest, that sounds overwhelming. That sounds like a process. And it is. Nothing happens overnight. Use it or lose it. Practice makes perfect. And so, as you do this more and more, it'll get easier. Really cool quote. Learned from one of my mentors, by Will Smith. Talent you have naturally. Skill is only developed by hours and hours and hours of beating at your craft. Think about that. So this law of attraction thing I talked about earlier. It's also called the frequency illusion. And essentially what it states is that our thoughts, what we think about, progress to actions. If you think about something enough, you will act upon it. Those actions progress to behaviors. What you do routinely, your habits on a natural basis, ends up becoming part of your routine and your behavior. And that behavior essentially becomes a piece of who you are, part of your identity. Henry Ford, genius. If you think you can or if you think you can't, either way you're right. It makes so much sense. And he's using this law of attraction to build confidence, to understand, to apply. So what's cool is Maslow came up with this thing called the hierarchy of needs. Essentially, all of these principles, the scientific method, life, Bloom's taxonomy of thinking, you can use this regardless of your class, your cultural identity, or your generation. From any point, from anywhere, you can use this process of thinking. So here's the big stuff. If you're going to listen to anything tonight, please listen to this. Challenges. Biases are huge. Fallacies, oh my. Heuristics, oh god, and excuses. Hate those. So anchors. What are anchors? This is an anchor. That's an anchor. That's an anchor. Anchors, that's an anchor. Anchors are anything that you've seen for the first time. It's new. It's information that you've never seen before. And why is that important? Well, that has an implantation in your brain and it can cause effects. And so what's scary about advertising and marketing is they manipulate our desires through emotional appeal. And that is, I believe, corrupt and evil. Because they're doing it not necessarily out of your best interest, they're doing it out of profit. That's wrong. They're not looking out for your best interest. And so that's what anchors are. Cognitive dissonance, also a pretty cool concept. So anchors create action without fully conscious thought. And so all that really means is that now you saw that advertisement for Coca-Cola and you did something, you acted upon it, you bought that Coca-Cola without logically thinking about buying it. Think about any advertisement you've ever seen. Do they go through the steps of logically, analytically saying, this is why you should buy from us? No, 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 no. They tell you, this is why you should buy from us emotionally. And you do so, and you act without thinking. Okay, so that's cognitive dissonance, essentially. And it happens because they've placed this anchor. So now you are acting without thinking, and those actions end up becoming a behavior. And that behavior becomes a part of who you are. But now, who you are is a little bit different. Because now you didn't consciously think, okay, is this right for me? And then act upon it. You just did it. It was impulse. It was curious. You were curious. You wanted to engage with it. And so, cognitive dissonance states that there's also this thing called confirmation bias, which is pretty cool. And all that really says is that now, this piece of who you are that has changed, that piece is something that you are going to agree with, something that you are going to justify. You're not going to go against who you are. You're not going to go against your identity. Okay, of course. Well, what's wrong with that is what if there was an anchor that was placed without conscious thought? Like an advertisement, focused on emotional appeal alone. And that is dangerous. Bandwagon effect. Really cool, guys. So bandwagon effect, McDonald's is huge. 6, 7, 8 billion served, 11, whatever it is. Everyone buys from us. Oh, damn, so I should buy from you too! That sounds awesome! No. No. Illusion of choice. Oh my gosh. We think we have so much free will. We can do whatever we want. I can walk up here. I can freaking do whatever I want.
You can't do that.
I have boundaries. I have limits. And there are limits. And so, there's this thing called the illusion of choice, which essentially all it states is that we have no free will. Everything is determined by these corporations who provide these anchors. They essentially brainwash us and make us zombies, robots. And it's the appeal to authority. Oh, they know what's best for me. They know what I should do. No, 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 no. They do not know anything. They just know how to manipulate.
Except for
and
Tim.
brainwash.
Tim doesn't give a shit. That's funny.
So, this idea that, I can't remember the name of the speaker, but it's kind of just a common philosophy that failure does not equal failure. Failure, again and again, equals growth and success. And this fear of failure is where people's dreams and hopes and wishes die. And so, what's dangerous is when people stop working for growth because it's uncomfortable, or their life is already good enough, or they have no reason to, and they stop working on themselves. And what's the problem with that? This can make people cynical. It can make people not desire that growth they need, to strive for what they find meaningful, to chase after their desires and hopes and wishes and dreams. And so it's just this difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. A fixed mindset is saying, I cannot improve. I am just this being that exists in my own little world, and I can't do anything about it. No, 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 no. Humans are amazing creatures. We can learn. We have this learning capability where we are able to improve. So,
30 seconds.
So For anyone that needs to leave, please do so. For production, if you need to shut the lights off or whatever, please do so. But I have to stay up all night regardless. So if you'd like to hear more, please stay, regardless of whether the lights are off or on. So I'm going to talk about this learning curve and experience them. And sorry, I will be very quick. I'll probably 3 to 5 minutes left. What's cool about this graph?
We're listening.
Okay. What's cool about this graph is
I'm turning
that
this
most people